Namo Buddhaya. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for finding the time to come to listen to this talk. I'm really very happy to be here. But I'm in the mood now because I have to congratulate the MC. I think he did a marvelous job. It's good to know young people can handle such a huge responsibility. I hope you carry on and more are inspired by you. Okay. Today my talk is service in Buddhism. When I was first invited to give this talk, I was told that it is because you have a new intake of teachers, Dhamma teachers, and to sort of explain to them what their function is. And then later I was told that they thought, why only to the new incoming teachers, why not open it to the public? And I thought, yes, that's a good idea, because all of us can in some way or another serve the Buddha Dhamma. And it is because of people like you who over 2,600 years have sustained the Buddha Sasana in so many countries, so many worlds, nameless, faceless, and yet they have done a huge service to bring happiness to the mankind, tying us back to the first time when the Buddha, after his enlightenment, right, and he converted the first 5 disciples, and after that the first 60 arahants. When the first 60 arahants were in the world, the Buddha sent them out. And he said, go forth, bhikkhus, for the happiness and benefit of gods and men. Okay? And he set the wheel rolling on that day, yeah, two months after his enlightenment. And when what set rolling 2,600 years ago is still rolling today, 2,562 or 63 years ago, and it's still going. And it was because of people like you. You are connected, sitting here, you are connected going right back. This is a very important aspect that we have to keep in mind whenever we participate in any Buddhist activity, that you are directly connected with the Buddha himself. Because they're without a break for 26 centuries, yeah, from mouth to ear to mind, to mouth to ear to mind, one after another, one generation after another, 100 generations. If one generation is 25 years, then it'll make it about 100 generations. You have brought this down. And it is what you are going to hand over, and that's why I was so impressed by this young man, yeah, that he is also going to be instrumental in passing it down. It's a huge responsibility, but a very rewarding. That's what I want to try and explain to you, how rewarding it is to give service. Most rewarding because you expect nothing in return. And in a way, it's something we need to know, that the whole practice of Buddhism is to destroy the ego. You do all of this in the end to say there is nothing. Looks like a waste of time. but it isn't. Okay, so set the picture. Okay, first question, why serve? Why do I have to serve? Okay, it's a good place to begin. Begin because the whole teaching of the Buddha is to make us understand 3 things: anicca, dukkha, anatta. Anicca, everything is changing. Everything, there's nothing in the whole universe that does not change. Some changes take place very slowly, some changes take place very fast. But nevertheless, change takes place. That's the first reality. You cannot hold on to anything. we suffer. Let us say that our whole purpose of the Buddha's teaching was to teach us how to be happy. So keep that at the back of your mind. We want to be happy. All right? But before we can be happy, we must know what makes us not happy. And the first thing that the Buddha teaches us is that everything changes. And while everything changes, we don't accept that. So there is a tussle between that which changes and our idea that nothing changes. This inability to let go, that is the cause of suffering. So we must first learn anicca. Anicca is the cause of dukkha. Dukkha is generally translated as suffering, but dukkha has a deeper meaning, deeper, more insidious. Dukkha as unsatisfactoriness. Whatever we want, the sense of not fulfillment, not completely happy. Something is always missing. So when we Buddhists talk about suffering, it's not that main type of suffering that we, disease, poverty, hunger. That's one type of suffering. But we don't have that kind of suffering. All right? We are worried about our pensions at the moment, but that kind of suffering is not really suffering. Okay? But suffering in the sense of a sense of non-fulfillment, dukkha. Okay? That's the meaning of suffering. Okay. Anicca, dukkha, and what we started off talking, anatta. There is no personality. There is no real I here. Because everything is changing. You cannot hold on to anything and say, this is it. We don't know that. Because we don't know that, we pretend or we kid ourselves into thinking there is something real here. So the purpose of Buddhism is to teach us to let go of these three things. And it's very simple, just let go. But if you let go, the reward is happiness. That sense that nothing can touch you. To do that, we need to work very hard. All right? And one way of doing that is, why serve? In the Buddha, when the Buddha talks about us, he refers to us as puttu jana. Jana means public. Puttu means individual. One of many. One of many. So in some way, I am one connected to the many. Okay? So now we're leading on to why we need to serve. I am one connected to the many. And one of my favorite images is the Mahayana image of the universe. How do I visualize the universe? All right? I visualize the universe as a huge net, fishing net. And what is a net? It's made up of many, many knots. How do you make a net? You knot. Okay? Imagine the entire, not planet Earth, but the entire cosmos as one such net, the Milky Way. All right. Then it's connected with these knots. All right? Now imagine that each knot has one diamond. Each knot has one diamond. And this diamond, what does this diamond do? What does a diamond do? It sends out its light. So this diamond sends out its lights to the next diamond. The next diamond sends out its light to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and the entire cosmos is lit up. The Buddhist beauty of the way Buddhists conceive of us, we are not sinners. We are not groveling down there like worms. We are diamonds. Each one of us is a diamond. And this diamond sends out its light in many directions. And that light is picked up by the next diamond and the next diamond and the next diamond. Okay? Conversely, if I shake one knot, the entire net shakes, is disturbed. If I do something good, this goodness spreads to the entire universe. Although I am one of many. So whatever action I do will serve the whole of mankind. The whole, not just mankind, the whole of sentient beings, all beings with sense. So, because I am Puttujana, because I am one, I have a responsibility to understand that my happiness does not depend on me alone. My happiness can only come about if I make others happy. And this others means every ant, every mosquito, every cockroach, yeah, everything that's on this universe, I must make happy. When I do that, I lose a sense of myself. I forget a me. So I am destroying myself. I destroy myself by serving others. That is why we say in Buddhism, we have to serve. We serve so that we can lose ourselves. So and like that diamond, we are instrumental in spreading happiness. We'll come back to that later. And therefore, all beings are interrelated. Shake one knot, the entire net gets shaken. Send one beam of light from you as a diamond, the entire cosmos gets united. You have to understand this because we are not alone. We are not caught up in our little cocoon. We are part of a huge thing out there. All right? And as long as we are part of that, we are in a suffering. To escape from that, that diamond must be extinguished. And to do that, we kill the ego. All right? And so we understand that my happiness can only come about if I make others happy. That's the first main reason for practicing service in Buddhism, okay? When we come for Dhamma talks and we learn about Buddhism and all, we all say, oh, I want to get enlightened, I want to get enlightened, I want to sit up there, you know, and let people come and worship me, and, you know, I must be very big, very hard, very hard. Most people say it's easier to pray to God and get saved. We Buddhists, we are told don't pray to God, nobody can help you, you got to save yourself, ayo, susala. But I am here to assure you it's not difficult. It's very, very easy to become a God. I repeat, in case you didn't hear that. It's very easy to become a God. Just do JKR work. Story, it's a beautiful story. You have mainly in your journey through Buddhism, you may have heard the story, mentioned the name of one God. His name is Sakka. Sakka, a special heaven was created for Sakka. And he is connected a lot with the life of the Buddha. Mangala Sutra, for example, is where Sakka talks to them. Anyway, Sakka is a very popular Buddhist god. Okay? How did he become a god? He was just a young man, like most of you. All right? Probably living in Bangsa. Okay? Because I hear that in Bangsa there's a lot of pubs. And he had 33 friends. And these 33 friends used to spend every day in the pub. Okay? And one day, while they were enjoying themselves in that way, one day Sakka just stepped out of the pub and there was a road in front of the pub, and he saw there was a drain, and this drain was clogged. The drain was clogged. And Saka just thought about, this is dirty, let me just clean it. So he cleaned the drain, and the water ran. Okay? Then he came, he said, hey, this is fun. So he went, and the road was full of potholes. So he started covering the potholes. His friends came out and saw him doing this. Hey, this is fun, let me help you. And so they started. When they said that, the wife said, oh, finally these fellows have stopped drinking. They're doing something useful. Let's encourage them. So the wives joined them, all doing JKR work. All right? And they did this the rest of their lives, and they died. And because of their selfless service, they just did it because it was the right thing to do. They didn't expect reward, they didn't expect recognition, they didn't want Tantri titles, now very dangerous, they didn't want Tun titles, all right? And they just did it, I forgive the language, they did it for the hell of it. Do good because it is good to do good. As a result of their selfless service, they were born in heaven. And a heaven was created. This is the heaven we call Tava Timsa. Moral of the story, why serve? Serve so that you can become a god. Stop. Stop. In the Buddhist scriptures, very clearly it shows there that that is not the ideal. Because even if in the Buddhism, even if you are born as a god, you will die. Impermanent. The law of impermanence even applies in heaven. So while Saka did the right thing, he did the wrong thing. It was limited because he will spend millions of years enjoying the results of his good work of helping others, but he will finish that. When it is finished, he comes back into samsara and then continue to suffer. The Buddha teaches us, beyond that, you must serve. After all this service, the reason for your service is to destroy the ego and to attain nirvana. Nirvana means blow off. Blow off means you go into not nothingness, you go into no-thingness. Okay? Then you are free. That is what we call nirvana. So our goal is nirvana, but our short-term goal is to serve, to make others happy. The reason we make others happy is so that we destroy our sense of permanence. When we destroy that, then we attain. So it's all part of the Buddhist path. Okay? Heedlessness, heedfulness is always praised. Heedlessness is ever blamed. Heedfulness means whatever you are doing, you must be conscious, you must be mindful of what you are doing. All right? And by heedfulness, Magga was the name of the guy who eventually became Sakka, the god. Same thing, yeah? All right. Go to Lordship of God. The Brahmin youth, Magga, through his mindfulness to service, was born as the chief of the gods. Therefore, mindfulness is always praised, and sloth and unmindfulness are always condemned. Service, wise service, do. Yeah? Keep doing things, make your lives fulfilled with activity. But this activity should be designed to make the world a better place. My personal philosophy in life, all these years, has been, I came into this world and I'm going to leave this world. When I came into this world, the world was like this. When I leave, by the time I leave, the world should have become a little little bit better. And I am the cause of that improvement in the world. Very tiny, maybe 1 millimeter. But if, on my deathbed, I can say, I contributed to the betterment of the world, then I have a reason to be happy. So it's a very simple philosophy. Yeah? My purpose in life is to make this world a better place than when I came to it. And how do I do that? Service. All right? The entire cosmos that I was talking about, everything that exists in the entire cosmos is in this picture, in this one picture. Right in the center, you will see a pig, a cock, and a snake. That's the 3 poisons that make us unhappy. What are these 3 poisons? Lobha, dosa, moha. Lobha, greed. Where does this greed come from? Delusion. The delusion that I exist, that I have a self. When I have a self, I become selfish. And selfish means I want things for myself. And the more I grasp, the more dissatisfied. I can never be satisfied, like fire. I'm always grabbing. All right? The moment I learn to let go, that's the beginning of happiness. So, lobha, dosa, moha. Moha, delusion of self. Lobha, greed. Greed can never be satisfied, so I'll always be frustrated. So destroy these 3. So lobha, dosa, and moha, all the bad actions that I do because of my ignorance, because of my delusion, all those actions lead me to unhappy states. What are the unhappy states? The world of animals, the world of spirits, yeah, the hungry ghosts and so on. Okay, they lead me downwards. On the other hand, when I listen to Dhamma and I see how I should design my life, I go upwards. I create good karma. Good karma leads me, like Magga, to happy states. And the more good I do, the more I destroy my I. The more I destroy my I, the more free I become until I attain nirvana. So this thing, and the beauty of this is, we go round and round and round. One day you can become a god. After you die, you can become a dog. It just goes round and round, as long as you're caught. But if you destroy that pig, that's the delusion of I, if you destroy that I, then you are free. When you because once you destroy your I, you destroy your greed. Once you destroy your greed, you got no more frustration. So these 3 get blown off. Nirvana, blow off. So the opposite, we are stuck in this now. So what we need to do is to get rid. And one way of doing that is to lose yourself in service. Okay? Why do we serve? We serve because that's the way the Buddha followed in order to gain enlightenment. So we are all potential Buddhas. Therefore, we are Bodhisattvas. To become a Buddha, you must go and do activities. Yeah? 10 paramis, 10 perfections. Dana, Sila, Nekama, Panya, Virya, Satya, and so on. Starting with Dana. Remember service, yeah? Dana is giving. Now, the Buddha, to become a Buddha, had to practice the perfection of Dana, just Dana alone, yeah, for 300,000 life cycles. A life cycle is not 80 years or 100 years. One life cycle is 140,000 years. 300,000 of those. Perfection. then you become a Buddha. All right? Or at a lower level, you can become an Arahant, which is a kind of Buddha, but lower level. Okay? But now, what did that consist of? It consisted of the Buddha giving himself in service, realizing that there is no body that I own, I give away my eyes. Organ donations that we do now, during the Buddha's lifetime. There is a lovely story, you all know this story. It's about the Bodhisattva sacrificing himself because he knew there was no self here, but this body has to be used in benefit of others. That's the story. Yeah. One day, the Bodhisattva was born as a prince. He and his brothers went hunting. When they were in the jungle, they came to a cliff. And he looked down the cliff and he saw a tiger. This tiger had just given birth. And she was very weak and she was very hungry. She was so hungry, she was too weak to go and hunt. And the cubs were around her. So she was so hungry that she was going mad, to the point of she was considering eating her own cubs. The Bodhisattva saw this, and he said, if this tiger eats her own cubs, she is going to get very, very bad karma. She cannot pay back. A mother killing her own cubs cannot pay back. So what did he do? With no thought for himself, he jumped down from the cliff, killed himself so that the tiger could eat his body. And that way, he saved the why serve? Because monkey see, monkey do. Buddha jumped. I'm not suggesting you go and jump looking for tigers, okay? What we are saying is, to the point, the idea is, when you serve, you kill your delusion of self. Our purpose in following the Buddhist path is to destroy the delusion of self. Okay? There is no self. We have a delusion of self. When we awaken to that, that is enlightenment. Okay? That is before his enlightenment. He did. There are thousands, literally thousands of stories of what the Buddha did. Okay? When he was already enlightened, there is this classical story about how one day the Buddha had many monks around him. All right? And they were all living with the Buddha. All right? Among them was a monk called Putigatitissa. Putigatitissa had a disease. All right? I think it must have been cholera. All right? And he couldn't control his bowels. To the point that he couldn't get up to clean himself. So he was stinking, he was so filthy, he was so smelly. All the other monks didn't go near him. Okay? The Buddha passed by and he looked and he saw Putigatitissa in this suffering state. He asked the other monks, what's happening here? And they told him, oh, he's so smelly, we can't go near. Why serve? The Buddha went to him, took off his clothes, told the monks to boil water. All right? The Buddha personally bathed him. In the meantime, told the monks to wash his robes and get them dry. Then he took these robes, dressed up this now clean Putigatitissa. Putigatissa's mind was now in a better state to listen to the Dhamma. The Buddha spoke to him of the Dhamma. Putigatitissa died and he gained enlightenment. This is one classic story we always use about even the Buddha found that it was necessary to help others. The Buddha never recognized a self. Remember, the Buddha always calls himself Tathagata. Tathagata means one who has come. He talks about himself in the third person. not as I. Never refer to himself as I. One who is so. Begitulah. Who are you? I am begitu. Because I have no self. You just have to see me like that. So this Tathagata taught us that lesson of why we serve. We do not serve for personal gain. We serve at the best level. After we have done something good, we always say, by the grace of this merit, may I gain the final bliss of nirvana. Okay, that's your goal. That's what we call kusala kamma. Okay? When we do good, we always, we do a lot of good. We Buddhists are very good at this. We do a lot of dana. We in dana in the form of publications, dana in the form of food, helping the poor, etc., etc., etc. We do a lot of good. All right? But there are the same action can have many different effects. The same action can have many different effects. All the good that we do is karma. Oh no, all the actions that we do is karma. Any action that you do, that's karma. Now you're sitting down here, this is a karma. Okay, get that. But that karma, remember, lobha, dosa, moha, the pig, the cock, and the snake, yeah, can be motivated in the wrong way. If you do good with the delusion that I am here, I am doing good, and I expect a reward, I want to go to heaven, it's good. So you will go to heaven. To us, that's a punishment. Because you are delaying your going to nirvana. You delay nirvana by enjoying R&R in heaven for 100 million years. It's a waste of time. Okay? So, when your friends come and tell you on Sunday, come to church, I will save you. Say, no, I don't want to go to heaven. I am a Buddhist. Okay? When you do good, with an I in mind, I'll give you an example in a minute. When you do good with an I in mind, it's good. It deserves a reward. But it is not a good that's based on wisdom. I'll explain in a minute. I will do good so that I am doing this good. Therefore, it's called punya kamma. We use the word merit. Merit means whatever good, I do it with a delusion of I am doing good so that I will be rewarded. That is what we call punya kamma. Good. But the same action can be converted. When I do this good, I do it with no sense of I. Here's a beggar. Beggar is starving. I put food in the beggar's hand and I walk away. I don't care about the action I do. I just walk away. Or at most say, let me kill my ego. That will lead you to, because it's based on wisdom. The wisdom that there is no doer of the karma and no receiver of the karma. When I have that wisdom, then it becomes, the same action becomes kusala kamma. Example, it's a rainy day. You're walking outside and you hear a sound. In the rain, it's cold, it's wet, and you hear mew, mew, mew. You go, you find a little kitten. The kitten is very frightened. The kitten is hungry. The kitten is cold. All right? You pick up the kitten, put it in a safe place, give it some milk to drink. Make the kitten happy and you walk away. There are two ways of walking away. Before you leave, you tell the kitten, hey kitten, this time I help you, okay? Now take a selfie and make sure that when I die, you come and bear witness, come and save me. Okay? I want to be, oh, Saka, are you watching? Please reward me. When you do good with that reward, yeah, you go to heaven and get stuck there. On the other hand, if you understand the teaching of the Buddha, there is no doer of karma, there is no receiver of karma. There is only good. There is only good. That is a higher level of doing. Why do I serve? I don't serve for reward. I serve because it brings happiness to others. That's it. I don't even worry about heaven. I don't even worry about nirvana. I do what needs to be done. Who did it? I don't care. Okay? That we call kusala karma. So in Buddhist, our motivation has to be looked at very carefully. Okay? So when you do good with an I in mind, with a reward in mind, punya karma. When you do good with no I, no doer, no receiver, kusala karma. All right? And then, of course, if you are motivated by lobha, dosa, moha, you commit what others will call a sin, that we call akusala. Akusala, unskillful action. Okay? When we talk about service, service is giving. Yeah? Not giving in terms of material goods, but giving in terms of service, in terms of helping others. There are 3 types of dana in Buddhism. Remember, we are under paramis. The first parami that the Bodhisattva performed 300,000 times was dana. What is dana? There are 3 types of dana. Okay? Amisa dana. Amisa dana is flowers, fruits, material things. When we give material things, we call it amisa dana. So when you go to an old folks' home and give food, that's amisa dana. But higher level, what I did with that little kitten, I give abhaya dana, fearlessness. Go to an old folks' home. This person, nobody visits this person. Go and hold this person's hand. And this person then dies, not afraid. Abhaya dana. When you go to an orphanage, children are frightened. All right? You go to a hospital, you do the things that. This is where we give fearlessness, giving comforting people. That is higher level, abhaya dana. But the higher than that is Dhamma dana. I've just come to the topic that I'm supposed to discuss now. Okay? All right. Dhamma dana. The highest of all giving in Buddhism is the giving of knowledge. All right? Because our biggest enemy is ignorance. It's ignorance, the pig, that makes us think that we exist. If we can help others to understand that there is no I, that is Dhamma dana. Okay? So when you become a teacher, all right, and you are giving these ideas to the younger generation, how to understand what is it that you do, how to be a Buddhist, what is the purpose of being a Buddhist. All of this is what we call Dhamma dana. The gift of truth excels all other gifts. Dhamma danam, sabbha danam jinati. All right? The gift of truth. So when you become a teacher, you are serving mankind, but you are serving on a very higher level. Why serve? Having said that when I serve, I do not serve it with a sense of an I, yeah? With a sense of I am doing this. No. Having said that, we always must remember that even the Noble Eightfold Path, our goal is perfection. Our goal is to kill a self. But in order to kill the self, you must begin with a self. Say what you are doing now. So in the Noble Eightfold Path, for example, you start with a self, and you use that self to convince yourself finally there is no self. So the Bodhisattva worked with an eye. That's the only thing you have, a self. Use that self and develop your panya, develop your wisdom to the point that where you have no self. You become a tat-agata. You have no self. Do you understand the concept? You start with an I to destroy the I. So start with delusion to destroy the delusion. And a bodhisattva did that. A bodhisattva has a very strong sense of who is doing what until it goes off, okay? There are 10 kinds of duties. Why serve? Yeah? Teaching is only one of them. Although it's one of the best, one of the highest levels, yeah? Minister to the needs of parents, attend to the welfare of children, cherish and look after spouses, maintain mutual understanding in marriage, attend to needs of relatives, respect elders, remember the devas, share marriage, respect civil laws, lead a righteous life free of. These are all the kinds of duties that you do as a daily Buddhist practice. Okay? You do it, one, I am doing all of this so I can be rewarded. Two, I am doing all of this so I can destroy my delusion of self. Kusala kamma, punya kamma. Okay? We are in Babs. We have decided to go and start teaching, to help Babs to do this teaching, okay? And why have we come here? Because the Buddha tells us that one of the biggest assets that you can have in your spiritual life is a Kalyana Mitra. Yes, you can stay in your home and you can help, okay? But it is much more difficult to do than if you can do it in a group. That's why we have Babs. That's why we come here and with others, with what we call Kalyana Mitra. A Kalyana Mitra is a spiritual friend. And the Buddha says that's the highest kind of friendship that you can develop. Why? All friends have no ego. I mean, they all have ego. We're all putujana. I know what it is like to work with others. You see? Try and go to the kitchen during dana time. Okay? All of that, yes. But at least we have the ideal that we are doing this for a bigger good, for a common good. All right? And if you do this with friends, they support you. So why do we need fellowship? In the past, agrarian and technological societies, all right? Agrarian in the kampong, yeah? People don't think in terms of me and you. We all do everything gotong royong, all right? That has changed so much in today's society. Today, when we live in our little cubicles in a high-rise flat, we don't even know who the neighbor is. Okay? And because of that, we are paying a very high price of loneliness. All right? And in order to counteract that, the loneliness, yeah, we develop spiritual friends here. I myself now am a recipient, a beneficiary of this kind of help. My wife and I live alone, so we are quite old. But we never feel alone because our Buddhist friends are there all the time. All right? They're all the time. So that, and they have nothing to gain from it. Okay? Kalyana Mitra. So when you come and when you serve in Babs, yeah, when you come and when you serve with others, and they encourage you. They don't say you are wasting your time. Okay? They say, yeah, this is the right way of doing things. This is a good way of doing things. So we get support. We get moral support. So that is why we do things as a society, as a group. Okay? Kalyana is good, it is intrinsic, it's good to have friends. It's beautiful to have friends, intrinsically beautiful. We can delight in it and love it rather than rationally approve of it. A lot of the time we say friendship is good, but don't waste my time. I can do things myself. Me, my family. Okay? And that alone is, that's a friendship is good. We are rationally approving it. Rationally. But emotionally, we need friends. And to make friends, you need to sacrifice. And that is also losing yourself as a puttu jana. Okay? Psychological, two aspects. Friendship has beauty. Psychologically, it's very beautiful. You know this yourselves, yeah? Yeah. And it's very practical. I help you, you help me. We are part of that net. All right? And you shake one knot in the net, all get shaken up. Okay? The Buddha himself said, Venerable Ananda said, yeah, friends are half the spiritual life. Buddhas, get this, yeah? Venerable Ananda told the Buddha that spiritual friends are half the spiritual life. Half the spiritual. Buddha said no. It's the whole of the spiritual life. Meaning that if you want to practice the Buddhist path, your spiritual friends will support you all the way. So when you come with the right motivation, when you come with the right attitude, yeah, then you will deal with your friends in a happy way. So you can create a lot of happiness, yeah, by coming and serving in the Dhamma. You serve society and you serve yourself as well. Again, Buddhist practice. In Buddhism, what we need to create, we had talked a lot about heaven and how to go to heaven. All right? We talked about how Magga and his 33 friends had a heaven created for them. All right? The Buddha says, no, you don't need to create heavens, wait until you die to go to heaven. All right? You can be in heaven here and now. Very important aspect of Buddhist practice. Buddhists are the happiest people in the world. When I say Buddhist, I have to remember something that happened at Inti long ago when I was teaching in Inti college. Yeah, a student filled up a form, all right? And in the form, he gave his name, his address, his jantina and all that. When he came to Ugama, he wrote B-U-D-D-S-H-I-T. Bullshit. I said, correct. That's what most of us are. We call ourselves Buddhists, but we are really bullshit. Okay? It isn't easy to be a Buddhist. Okay? But if you are a true practicing Buddhist with the right understanding, the Buddha says, you can experience the happiness of heaven here. And what is that? Yeah? He calls it the Brahma Vihara. Brahma, God. The Hindu God is called Brahma. Vihara, house, where God lives, i.e. heaven. So they say, we are doing all this so that we can go to heaven. The Buddha said, no, you don't have to wait to die. You create your heaven here and now. How do you do that? Heaven is not a place. Heaven is a state of mind. So at this moment you have actually been in heaven. Those of you who slept, never mind lah. But when your mind was free of lobha, dosa, moha, greed, anger and hatred and illusion, when your minds were free from that, your minds were in a state of peace. You were in heaven. The Buddha says there are 4 states which you must develop, which you can develop, which is metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha. All right? It has to do with service. Because when you serve, you work with others. And when you work with others, you work for the welfare of a larger group. When you work for that larger group, what do you need to support that? You need metta. Remember the net? Remember the diamonds? And each one of you is a net? When I say that my diamonds flashes my light towards others, what I am saying is my sense of goodwill, my sense of love, I radiate towards you. I radiate that towards you, but I do not choose whom I love. I give it to everybody. All right? And when we do metta bhavana, we say to the right, to the left, to up, down, all around, yeah, beings in Babs, beings in Selangor, beings in the universe, etc., etc. Metta is spreading loving kindness, brotherly feeling towards the entire universe. It's huge. It's huge. That's why the Mahayana came up with this idea that I am one in that entire net, the cosmic net. I include every ant, every cockroach, every mosquito in my sense of goodness, loving kindness, feeling towards all. When I serve, I bring that sense to not only my co-teachers, but to my children as well. When I am living in that state, I don't need to die to go to heaven. I am in heaven. I am in heaven. So when people invite you to go to heaven, say, no, 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 I am already there. Metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha. They will run away, I guarantee. Okay, all right. Then you have metta is tapile kase. Metta is neutral. Metta is towards all. And when you are in that state, you are a very powerful being because you are giving it to everybody. Happiness is spread to the cosmos. All right, that's one. On the other hand, you can also realize that there is karuna. Karuna is where I am okay, but my friend is not. So I am in a higher position, I'm in a happy position, he is not. I cannot enjoy my happiness without considering that person's need. So what I do is I practice compassion. Kuan Yin comes into the picture. Yeah? Kuan Yin is not a woman, beautiful woman standing out there. To me, Kuan Yin is all that compassion that we have in our hearts. When we help others, that's Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin appears. Yeah? Sometimes in a good form, sometimes in a fierce form. Example, this man wrote to I read this in an article, and where he wrote to a monk, Chinese monk, Sifu, and he said, Sifu, I'm always quarreling with my wife. I'm always fighting with my wife. You know, I cannot stand anymore. Now, as a Buddhist, I cannot kill. So what suggestion do you have? The Sifu writes back and says, this is because you see your wife as a woman. You see your wife as a wife. Next time, change your perception. Don't see your wife coming towards you. See Kuan Yin coming towards you to teach you patience, tolerance, understanding. So say, yes, Kuan Yin. Good idea. Okay? So you have metta, then you have karuna where you practice, which is relatively easy. I'm okay. You know, I feel metta you all the time. I go looking for kittens to feed. Okay, karuna. Mudita, more difficult. Your friend is okay, you are not. when your friend is okay and you are not, can you feel that same happiness that you have, that he has? Can you share his happiness? That is what we call sympathetic joy. Happy that your friend is happy when you yourself are not happy. That requires a lot of killing of ego. All right? Sometimes we do. When we have good friends and their friends are doing well or their children are doing well, that's okay. Right? We can. But we have to practice that all the while. It's very difficult to do in Malaysia's political society. Okay? But we have to be good Buddhists. Okay? Right. So the metta, karuna, mudita, and of course, the highest again, Buddhist, the highest heaven is when you are in a state of upekkha. Upekkha is where you are equanimous, like the lotus rising from the water. The lotus is not affected. Where does the lotus come from? The mud, the filth, the smelly black mud. But the lotus needs this, but arises above that perfect and pure, untouched. Here you have anger, hatred, greed, jealousy, and so on. But your mind is not touched by that anger, hatred, greed, jealousy. That is the highest level. That's the level. That's why the Buddha is always seen sitting on a lotus flower. All right? Because it's above all that. That's the state of mind. If you have that state of mind here and now, you are in heaven. So in Buddhist terms, we say we need to practice the 4 Brahma Viharas constantly here, and the point is whether there is a heaven or not. When you die, if you have lived all your lives practicing the 4 Brahma Viharas, it stands to reason you will continue. So you will go to heaven. Okay? So you will go to heaven, and you don't have to worry. Don't worry about it. Worry about the now. Okay? We have come to the end. Beautiful. How Magga helped, that story you know. The story of, we are talking about service. We are talking about teaching. We are talking about doing, and you can say, Uncle Vijaya, you talk all about this. You talk about Putu Jana. I am one person. What can I do? I am one person, what can I do? What difference can I make? You talk big about, you want to do this and you want to do that. When you leave the world, you have contributed to the world. You talk like Uncle Vijaya, but I cannot. I want to share this Christian story with you. All right? Buy one, free one. It is said that a very famous Christian saint called Saint Augustine, he lived in North Africa. Saint Augustine was walking along the beach. And on the beach, because of the tide had come in, starfish, thousands and thousands of starfish had been brought in by the tide, and they were left and the water had gone off. These starfish were dying. Thousands of starfish dying on the beach. When St. Augustine was walking, he saw a little child. And this child picked up one starfish and threw it back into the water. Then he went and picked one more and threw it into the water. So St. Augustine asked the child, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm throwing this starfish into the..." Why? Because I want to save this one starfish. Then St. Augustine said, "But there are thousands of starfish. What difference will it make?" The child looked at St. Augustine, picked up one more and said, "Well, it'll make a difference to this one. I don't care about the rest, but I'll only save this one. That's all I'm concerned about. So go ahead and save your starfish." Okay? Courtesy of Jesus Christ. Okay. That's a lovely story, very nice story. Okay? And may all beings be well and happy.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.